everyone. So I am about 1 month post-op now, and when I was thinking about getting the procedure, so many people asked me, well, what does Eric think? What does your husband think? So I am here with my hubby.
Hey, hey.
Eric, and we are going to talk about his thoughts on my breast reduction.
The world wanted to know, you get it here first.
So how did you feel when I told you I wanted to get a breast reduction?
I felt like, I felt conflicted.
Conflicted?
Yeah, I felt like happy for you that you wanted to get it. I also felt confused, like, am I supposed to be happy about this? Because I know they're gonna sit up high and perky, but is that a shallow feeling? Is she gonna be mad at me if I show happiness? How's she gonna look? Will there be big scars? Will they look good? I had a lot of feelings. But overall, I was hopeful.
What was your biggest fear with me undergoing the surgery? Did you have any?
I didn't have many fears. I felt big gnarly scars were the biggest fears, or if you had like cockeyed nipples, like, you know what I mean? You said that you had known people in your family who lost the sensation in your nipples, so I was worried for you because I didn't want, parts of your body malfunctioning. But those were small fears. I mean, I felt pretty confident that you could find a good doctor and that the people who you had talked to, their surgeries were over 10 years ago, so pretty optimistic about the whole thing.
So I'd say my biggest fear would...
I look how they turned out. Hey.
Shut up. I'd say my biggest fear would be dying. Hello. You weren't afraid that I would die and leave you as a single parent? As a single father raising
I do not fear
two
death.
boys? I mean, okay, so I don't fear death, okay? But the thing about death is, leaving your loved ones behind. That's the biggest thing,
Mm-hmm.
So I was worried that I would die, because I had a lot of, I have my heart condition, and I've never been under anesthesia, and you hear horror stories about anesthesia and things like that. I didn't want to go into cardiac arrest. I didn't want to have to be brought back or anything like that. So I was very, very fearful of that. And then we have a special needs child, so I was worried that if something happened to me, then what would happen to my child who I have this amazing bond with? How would Eric handle that? So you never thought of how you would handle that if something happened to me?
Well, I just thought that the chances of it were so slim that it didn't warrant me, getting worked up about it. I mean, there's so many things that go on in our day-to-day lives that are stressors that, I just feel like there's other things that I focus on. My worry list is long enough, and I felt like the probability of that happening was so small that I couldn't add it to my worry list.
What about the actual surgery, the day of? How were you feeling?
I was feeling good. I was feeling partly because you had done your research. You laid out, the differences between the doctors that you had looked up, and you were so confident in your doctor. And knowing you for all these years, I know how thorough you are. Thorough. So I was confident in your doctor, and I just had a good feeling going into the day. Everything was working out.
I felt good too. So at the point of the surgery, it had been rescheduled a couple of times already, and I was just kind of ready to get it over with. So now what about the recovery part? Eric had some issues with feeling like he was failing during my recovery.
Well, I can multitask two things at once effectively. Once I start getting into 3 or more things at a time, then you start getting into a lot of half-ass stuff. So, taking care of Naima and our 2 children, as you mentioned, Gavin has special needs. Our oldest, Ethan, is just needy as hell. So, and then we have a dog. You got to walk her. You got to feed her. So between cooking meals, taking care of Naima, making sure the kids are clean and fed and attended to, because they want to play. This is the pandemic, so they can't go anywhere or do anything. You know, it's just a lot on one person to attend to everybody's needs. So my attention was split so many ways. It's driving me kind of crazy. So I'm glad that your recovery has gone so smoothly and faster than we anticipated.
So I could definitely feel that. Yeah, I could definitely feel that tension, and I too wanted to, you know, do things for myself. I wanted to do the things that I'm used to doing because I like to do things a certain way. I like to fold my clothes a certain way.
Yeah, I folded those clothes the way you asked.
He did okay. You know, I like to load the dishwasher a certain way. I like my dishes to be put away a certain way and things like that. So, you know, I like my meals prepared a certain way. So it was definitely...
Which was annoying because you would remind me of that while I'm waiting on you hand to foot. Like, look, at a certain point, you got to be happy for the help that you have. Like, you can't... You know, I'm not a waiter who's being paid for a service. Like, I have other things going on, and I'm doing the best I can. And so by you saying, well, if you just made the food, why didn't you put apple butter on the toast? I'm like, I'm bringing you food. You're in the bed recovering. You just need to eat. At the hospital, you don't get to say, why ain't there apple butter on my toast? So, look.
I definitely didn't do that.
You're at home in a comfortable bed. Yes, you did. So just, you know, be happy for what you got. So needless to say, the recovery part was annoying AF.
So
yes.
I'm just a particular person.
Yeah.
And I like things done a certain way.
Mm-hmm. So hire somebody. Mm-hmm.
It's just part of my personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm a professional organizer. It just kind of comes along with the territory. I just like things a certain way. So.
Yeah.
But I still think he did a great job. I appreciated him for what he was doing. Although after my first week, when I went to see my doctor, and my doctor said everything was going well, and then he was like, great, can I go back to work next week?
Oh, I wanted to go back to work so bad.
And I'm like, no, I am still not recovered. I'm still not completely recovered. I still have, you know, a couple of weeks before I hit my 6-week mark. So.
And to fully illustrate how much I wanted to go back to work, understand what I do for a living. I work in news. I work the graveyard shift. So I get up at like midnight or 1 a.m. at the latest to be into work super early so I could put on a morning show.
So imagine how bad it must have been if he wanted to hurry up to get back to work.
I still wanted to go to work because I'm nobody's nurse. I'm just, you know, it's not in me.
And see, we're different because if it was him, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, I'd be doing things for you. I'd anticipate his needs, you know.
I tried to anticipate.
Most times he anticipated my needs, but sometimes he didn't. So, but anyway, so, all right. So Nurse Eric aside.
Yes. Nurse Eric has been put to bed.
Anyway, I'm glad I went through with it. I'm glad I, you know, trusted my husband enough to know that, you know, even though things might not get done the way I want them to, he still did the best he could. And I appreciate you, and I love you for that.
I appreciate that. I think it's fair for the viewers out there to know that it's not like, you know, I wasn't feeding you and the laundry was just messy.
I didn't say that.
It's not like the Mr. Mom movie where Michael Keaton is blowing up the vacuum and everything. I'm a more than competent person. You're just very particular.
I'm very particular. Like, our house is, you know, pretty clean all the time. Even when we think it's messy, it's still pretty clean. So, I mean, you're the same way for the most part. Like, so, hello.
True. So let's talk about the boobs.
All right, right. That's why we're here. Okay.
Right.
So, so one day I had just finished taking a shower, and I've been taking showers in the upstairs bathroom just because it's easier. And then I will go downstairs to get dressed. I'll put on my robe, and then I'll go to my downstairs master bathroom to get dressed. But I put ointment on beforehand. So one day I was rubbing ointment on me. So Eric walked in the bathroom. I guess he didn't realize I was in there. And he screamed and closed the door really quickly. He was like, ah! And closed the door. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, do I look that scary? Why in the world did you scream and run away?
Well, it's twofold. Not only did I not realize you were going to be in there, so, you know, a stranger is in the room. You really look like a stranger. And so not only do your boobs look different, so it's like some strange breasts, some stranger breasts in my house, in my face. You were also like rubbing ointment on them in a weird, creepy way with Q-tips. You were like,
he's lying. I do one at a time.
oh, so he was like this, but she had like a weird face going.
No, because I was trying to look at the scar in the mirror. So.
Yeah, so she was like looking like The Shining with strange boobs. So I walked in and you have this ghost woman with perky breasts doing like this. So that's why I jumped, because, you know, it was just too much for my senses at once. Ghost boobs!
Really?
But,
that was a whack answer.
Okay.
Ghost boobs, Eric.
Ghost boobs.
So, now that we're almost 5 weeks in,
Wow.
what are your thoughts? How do they look?
They look good. I, you know, definitely like the lift. I think it's a good size. You know, I'm not mad at big boobs. Small boobs are fine too. So, but I definitely more into like the shape. I like the nipples. They made them perfectly circular, which is kind of strange to get used to, because I don't think it's really a natural look, but it is nice to see a perfect circle. So, you know, I definitely think I'll get used to it. The vertical scars from the nipples down are barely noticeable, which is great. But the one underneath is still a little off-putting.
So the scar underneath, I'm pretty sure my stitches haven't completely dissolved yet. So once they dissolve, then I plan to start putting on, using a silicone scar sheet to help them fade. But, you know, as the stitches dissolve and all that stuff, it's just gonna fade and look better every time, and it'll be like more like my skin instead of like a, you know, a Franken boob kind of situation. So,
but I still feel like a little guilty, like looking at them. Like, I still feel like, you know,
like you're looking at someone else's boobs.
Not only that, but if I enjoy your new boobs, am I saying that your old boobs were bad?
So,
I'm not trying to get in trouble, basically.
So being completely transparent, I hated my post-child boobs, because my boobs before were good. My boobs after having kids were horrible. I didn't like them. They were too big.
Horrible is a bit strong, babe.
I thought they were horrible. They were too big. They were heavy. I didn't like how much it pulled at my skin. I didn't like the neck pain. I didn't like the back pain. And I think it's important to note that I did this for me. I did not do it for him. I did not do it for him.
I never asked for a boob reduction, lift, or any augmentation, period.
He did not, but I just want people to know that if you are going to do something like this, make sure you're doing it for yourself and not for somebody else. So I did this completely for me. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like my nipples pointing down. I didn't like how much of a toll pregnancy took on my body.
Well, breastfeeding.
Well, pregnancy, because once I got pregnant, my breast got big immediately and my nipples started pointing down immediately, and that was just during the pregnancy. That was before I breastfed. But I did breastfeed both of my kids for a good amount of time, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think it really matters, you know, how long I breastfed them. But, you know, I just knew, like, from the time I got pregnant, I knew that when I was done breastfeeding my kids, that chances are I would have a breast reduction. And there are women in my family who've had breast reductions. My mother has had a breast reduction, so it's nothing that, you know, was kind of out of left field. I just knew that I didn't like having big breasts. I'm not one of those people that enjoy having big boobs. I'm just not. So I did it for myself, and I feel a lot better. I feel more confident. I don't feel like people are just, you know, when I walk around, I don't feel like people are staring at my boobs. I like how I look better in pictures now.
That's
feel like
an understatement. Y'all, she be talking about walking around in little tops. I can't wait to be on the beach in little bikini tops. I can't wait to walk down the street in roller skates and with a midriff.
Okay, he's lying. I don't roller skate. I've never talked about walking down the street with a midriff on, but I do talk about going topless. Hey!
Hey. Final thoughts. In conclusion, I think it was a worthwhile experience. Number one, it was something that you led the way on, which husbands, let them lead the way. Do not be pushing your wife into changing their bodies, because nothing good can come from that. Wise words. But I'm most happy that you're happy with it, that you led the charge, you found a doctor you were happy with, you've been happy with the procedure, the recovery, and the result. And I could see, you know, it's kind of changing you for the better, how you feel about yourself. So that's great. And real talk, I'm going to enjoy them too for many years to come. So win-win, baby.
Okay.
Oh, handshake.
All right, guys. Bye. Like and subscribe to my channel.
Click down below. Voila, voila, voila. What's up, YouTube? Like and subscribe below.
I'm not gonna put any. All right, hey guys. Stop it.
All right.
Golly. Okay. Stop. Is this a little crooked? It doesn't look crooked though, does it? Okay. Hey everyone. So
Hold on. Still got some residual workout sweat.
All right. I was in there. He walked in.